Jose, that was a hugely entertaining tie. It warmed us all up. Do you enjoy it when you lose like that? Or is it sort of an exercise in suffering?
I enjoy it, and I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed the way we played when we had the ball. Since the first minute, immediately, first minute, great situation. Lamela had a good save by Olsen, and that was just the beginning. And we had the ball, we had great dynamic, a great movement. Score goals, create more chances, great character to fight against incredible mistakes. But attacking football only wins matches when you don't make more defensive mistakes than what you create. We scored 4 goals, and 4 goals was not enough.
Does that hurt you, though, that lack of defending, that lack of...
If it hurts me,
yeah,
it hurts everyone from our team, because the feeling is that we played really well when we had the ball. We were brave, we create. We were the best team, winning 1-0, and certainly in 5 minutes was boom, 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 mistake, goal. You fight back, you go again, and more mistakes, and fight back again, and that was the mouse and the cat. The mouse was our defensive mistakes, and the cat was us trying to compensate that, playing very well and scoring goals, but was not enough.
It's a lot of effort, it's a lot of time, there's a lot of tired legs out there, and you've got a big game this weekend as well.
I know, and of course City is a great team. They rest a big percentage of their team. The ones that played, they didn't even play for 90 minutes. We had this situation, but we can't cry. We have to play Saturday, and next week go to Europa League, and we have to go.
And if you have a glass of red wine with Carlo Ancelotti, you'll have plenty to talk about.
I don't think it's possible, because this is the way it is, but we had enough time before and enough time to change a few comments in between us. Great guy. Wish him all the best.
Thanks, Joseph.
Thank you.
Gilfrey, that was a tremendous cup tie. Completely crazy. It must have felt like that playing.
Yeah, it was. I think it was too open-ended. Too many goals. Probably good to watch. Not going to lie. But fantastic to come back. Conceded, I think, 3 goals probably from corners or set pieces. This is something we need to have a look at and work on. But the spirit in the team to come back and eventually go through is fantastic.
Yeah, it seems like a long time ago, but you were pretty slow coming out of the blocks, weren't you? They dominated for that first 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think really slow. Kind of caught in between pressing and sitting back, and they took advantage of that, and were much better in the first 20-30 minutes. But I think after that, after our goal, we kind of came out a little bit and obviously got the 3-1 lead, but disappointed to concede just before half time.
Yeah, huge turnaround, 7.5 minutes. The game turned on its head. It was a seesaw game all the way through, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, it was. As I said, it was probably fantastic to sit at home and watch the game, but I think for our liking it was too open, but a fantastic cup game, and obviously fantastic to still be in the competition.
Penalty and a couple of assists against your old club, of course, as well. It helps.
Yeah, it's always special to play Tottenham. I love the club, fantastic players and staff, and the fans were really good. So it's nice to see everyone here again. But most important thing, we're still in the competition.
Yeah, everyone take a deep breath and you get through into the next round.
Thank you. Cheers.
All the best.
Thank you.
No wonder he had a big smile on his face. 5 goals for his side tonight. He was involved in 4 of them. We'll look at the goals. We'll talk about him specifically in a minute. But that's what you want from an FA Cup game. 2 sides just going at each other for 2 hours. Perfect.
Yeah, definitely. You asked us what we'd get from the game today. We weren't quite sure, because the consistency hasn't been there with Spurs. You didn't know how they'd come out, especially with Harry Kane on the bench. But, boy, we got a fantastic game, great spectacle, and a good advert for the English game as well. And it shows you, actually, that the FA Cup means something to these teams. And people sometimes doubt that, but I think the players in general, they all know what this means. They all want to win it, get their hands on it. And for their clubs, it's great.
Yeah, let's just talk about that just for a second then, because people have been talking about, the FA Cup's done for the last 10 years. As players, did you ever feel that? Was there ever that feeling that the FA Cup wasn't what it used to be?
Not for me. That was the biggest thing. The biggest transition for me, especially at City, was that trophy. Growing up, I never dreamt about winning the Premier League. It was the FA Cup was the biggest honour, kind of, because it was realistic towards that. And then that was a transition. That was the first trophy we won in, 35 years, and it propelled us on to then be contenders the following season. So winning this trophy is prestigious, like Rio said, and it propels you on to the higher level.
And that's what I'm sure that these two clubs especially would have been thinking. They're clubs that see themselves on that next rung down probably from the teams that fight for the Championship at the moment. And this could be something that will maybe elevate them to that next stage where they have the mindset that we can win, we understand how to win, and go on to then challenge for maybe championships. But it comes in stages, and this is definitely a big part in that, as Jolyon said.
Yeah, and they both need to just taste some form of silverware, because that is what makes you crave it more when you kind of get into those moments. And, as Jolyon says, it kind of propels you and makes you, believe you can go on and do more. And both of these clubs haven't had that yet. None of these players haven't had that, and they're desperate for it. And I think tonight we watched a game where I felt like everyone left it out there. Even the players that didn't play that well, they left their heart and soul out there and gave us everything, to win the game. I don't think you can criticise mistakes, but you can't criticise the work rate of both sides tonight.
3 wins, Jolyon, your old club. 3 wins away from lifting a trophy. I know you got super close back in 2009. Let's mention then Gylfi Sigurdsson. We heard from him there. I mean, he was brilliant this evening. 3 assists and a goal. I guess when you do that against a former club as well, it just feels a little bit more special.
Yeah, definitely. I think the composure from the penalty was nice, but the ball he played to Bernard, exquisite, again, late in the game. And obviously tired, fatigued minds, legs, but he's a bit of class and created the winning opportunity for Everton.
Let's have a look at it, Rio. Here it is.
Yeah, and listen, at the end of the day, sometimes when people are getting tired, it's about pouncing on mistakes. Harry Winks gets caught on the ball there, and then it's about the next wave of attack. They come inside, you see. It's composure out here, that's what I like. They're not rushing things. The ball comes, you see the little look he has around him. He spins that Dele Alli, and it's off his left foot, his weaker foot, which you wouldn't expect. But then it's about the finish. He lets it run across his body. What a bit of movement that is. Spins around, then faces the play and has the speed of thought, and then the technique to execute. And then it's all about the finish. Great finish.
I think from a Spurs point of view, it was poor goal to concede. I think Doherty can see the run clearly of Bernard inside him. He's either got to block the run or go with him. I think, again, it's just fatigue. Yeah. Sometimes as a player, you get into a situation, you just hope, because you're that tired, don't you? You just think, hopefully he's offside or hopefully he's going to miss. But you can't afford to do that when you're around top players like Bernard.
I guess people will enjoy digging out the Jose Mourinho quote from a few years ago when Arsenal lost and shipped a load of goals, and he described it as, he said, that's a hockey score. That's not a football score. Mm-hmm. It was a hockey score tonight. His team were on the receiving end of it. What's the plan for him now, players from this? You know what, he gets criticised, Jose Mourinho, for the way he plays a lot of the time. We've sat in here myself and kind of gone, look, they need to play more expansive, they need to open up, and he's kind of done that today. But look at the results. He doesn't feel like he can trust them defensively. And when I say that, I don't mean just the back four. The goalkeeper's involved in that, the midfield too, whatever it is, you don't feel like he can trust them. But that was, him opening up and trying to play, expressive football, because they were, I suppose, entertaining and enjoyable to watch, but not going to win anything like that clearly today, as we've seen. Look, we've seen them play the kind of game we had it last Thursday, where they just sit in and don't entertain. We've seen them play a game like tonight, yet it doesn't really matter at the moment. They're not winning games of football. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They've got Manchester City again at the weekend. Yeah. I guess this could derail things again slightly. What are your thoughts generally on Spurs at the moment?
Look, I think the Liverpool game was a really big moment that I think they looked at each other and was like, we are miles off it. We're nowhere near where we need to be if we want to be getting top 4 or winning trophies. And they did have a shift in the way that they want to play. I think we saw that against West Brom. I know West Brom are obviously much further down the league, but so were Fulham and so were Brighton at the time, and they gave Spurs a lot of problems. They've come out, they've played a lot more an expansive style of football. They're going forward, they're scoring goals. They just don't seem to be able to get the balance on both sides. I think tonight was obviously an example of that. There were moments that he's happy about, but he still can't legislate for things like, Lloris struck him one in the back of the net, and, players not going with runs and balls getting lost in midfield that you shouldn't be losing. So that is obviously what he'll always focus on, because at that level they feel like simple mistakes that you shouldn't be making personally. If you kind of get opened up a bit, like what Sigurdsson did, the bit of skill he flicks it over to Bernard, then brilliant. but some of the goals were a little bit comical at times, and I think that has been the story for a good few weeks now.
I have to say, I actually feel sorry for him in some ways, because in recent weeks he's changed quite a few times in the way that they've approached games. Like you say, the West Brom game was a bit different when Harry Kane wasn't playing, etc. But each and every one of them times recently, they're being undone by individual moments, individual errors, which as a manager, you can prepare all you like all week for each game, but again, these individual errors are killing you. So in that sense, I feel sorry for him, because sometimes that just derails his whole plan that he's worked on.
So is that a quality thing, or are they not prepared enough?
I think it's a quality thing, yeah. I think there's too many players consistently making mistakes, and it's leaving them open, and they're having to chase games some of the time. So until they get that right and eradicate them type of mistakes, they can never really consider themselves a team that's really going to challenge consistently, because mistakes lead to goals, which then leads you chasing, leads you open. It's problems consistently.
I suppose Harry Kane being back is the big plus for them. That's 2 goals in 2 games, but they play City at the weekend. They've got to start winning.
Oh, definitely. And again, tonight they'll be proud that they've managed to score 4 goals, and great cross by Son, great bit of skill. And Harry Kane does what he does best, and that's find space in the 6-yard box and finish from close range. But overall, Spurs will be looking at the mistakes they made and say, yes, possibly Lloris shouldn't be making them every week. They shouldn't be giving a penalty away every week. So you'd like to think there's 2 goals they can save themselves. But again, having to score 4 in every game isn't that possible. It's not realistic for any team, and especially the way Spurs with their confidence.
Let's zip through a few of the other goals. We thought, actually, that Everton had won it in normal time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And then, obviously, it changed. But they were shouting for a foul quite a lot after this, and then Ndombele. But, again, the ball gets hoofed up the pitch. Everton win the seconds. Then it's about lovely little pass down the side of the centre-half there, and it's a lovely finish to the left foot. I mean, the lads were sitting there questioning the goalkeeper. Was he a bit further, too far near his post? It's a great little run on the blind side. This is where I think Richarlison sees himself. If he sees himself as a number 9, down the middle, this is where I think ideally he'd want to play.
Goalkeeper?
I feel like he's a little bit too, close to his near post. I don't think it's a brilliant strike. I mean, keepers will be at home now throwing things at the telly as outfield players, discussing whether they're too close to the near post or not, but that's just what they do. But sometimes goals go in and you think, how's he scored from that angle? And that was one of those, I think that, you know, if they analysed it, I felt like he was too close to his near post, personally, but...
If we go, but they'll still be angry with you for saying
but
that.
that's why there's a keepers' union and we do what we do.
You'll be getting texts. If we go back to the start of the second half, they were 3-1 down. At this moment, they came back to 3-3, and I think you were believing at this point, weren't you?
I've watched them all day and been convinced they're going to score goals, and that's one of the most enjoyable things that I've seen. From Tottenham, they've looked dangerous from set pieces against, I don't know what Sigurdsson's doing here, by the way, with this marking on Davinson Sanchez. He's not looking at the ball. Even if Sanchez is offside, you'd think it's a penalty. But they look dangerous all game. So it was that's the really enjoyable side. It's like, right, they're scoring goals again. Once the mistakes stop, I feel like it's a Tottenham side that you can kind of get behind and believe in again.
And it feels crazy, really, to think right at the start of the game we saw Tottenham take the lead, and we saw them miss that raft of chances where they could have gone 2, maybe 3-0 up. Yeah,
and listen, they started the game like a house on fire. Yeah. They came out the chaps flying. They looked like the team ready. We spoke about Calvert-Lewin here going down on his hunches there. I don't know what he was doing there, whether he's, like you said, been given a shout maybe. But they started like the team that had the bit between their teeth and that was going to go on and really take this game to Everton. But it never materialised. Again, a mistake. This is what you talk about here. Boberg, who's been fantastic all season, is a big, bad touch. And then I think the play from Everton here is exquisite to get to the point of shooting. But then I think Lloris, he's at fault here.
Yeah, he's at fault. But I think you have to give credit to Everton. I think if that was Man City pressing that high and that controlled, we would say they've forced the error. And that's what Everton have done there, and they've capitalised on that. And yeah, he probably shouldn't have gone in, but fair play. And here, for me, the defenders were unfortunate. It's a great bit of skill from Calvert-Lewin to flick around the corner. And a great effort. But that happens, and they've not been beaten. It's just gone through his legs, and obviously for Reece, he's unsighted and he's dived a bit late.
Do you feel they're getting the credit they deserve, Everton, for the kind of football they're playing this season?
Possibly not. I don't think many people would have expected them to win the way they have done tonight, especially when Calvert-Lewin goes off and they're still scoring goals and they look like a threat. They deserve a lot of respect because, as I said, they play at a style that suits their players. And that's what Carlo Ancelotti has done. He's created a system for their players, and it's effective.
And there we got the 3-2 right on the stroke of half-time. And again, Jermaine, for your team, for your former team, this felt like such a key moment to score, didn't it?
Yeah, they were fired up at this point. You know, Lamela was, you know, he actually played reasonably well, and you know, he finally gets his goal, and you think, right, this is going to be the right second half, and it ended up being even better than we thought.
Yeah. So it was a game absolutely full of goals. I'm sure Duncan Ferguson would have had one or two if he was out on the pitch. Instead, he was standing behind the manager, and he certainly enjoyed the fight for himself. You see as Carlo just quietly blows on his drink, Duncan Ferguson's behind him going crazy. Let's see what he thought after the game. He spoke to Des.